My name is Kennedy Lumula. I'm a Kenyan. My country in East Africa, my country is called Kenya. I live in Nairobi with my family. We were blessed to have a very wonderful family, to have a beautiful wife, and a family that we could support each other in any other way that we can. As a family, we really appreciate God and appreciate the opportunity that God gives for any family to be together. I'll speak for myself, then my wife will talk. On June 17, before we took our daughter, June 18, before we took our daughter to being vaccinated, we really had a wonderful time with her as a family. My daughter, Latifa Muthoni, before we took her to the vaccination, the night before we took her, she was full of life. As a parent, I was so happy for her and so happy for we were one happy family because we had a number 2 in our family. And she was really a blessing, as we had a son before. Now God has blessed us with a daughter. So we were really happy and so like full of life. And before I took her to the hospital for vaccination, we really played. I really love my family. Every time I really take care of them, and I really want to know what is happening. Like, is there a problem? Is there anything you need? Is my kid okay? Is she healthy? So my daughter, the last moment I had with her was so amazing moment that I don't want to forget. As I was holding her, like up to late at night, because kids, don't sleep early. They tend to, at least to make you like, they just want you to be with them. And she was just a baby, and she was a girl. So I really, because it's like I've given birth to my mom. So the connection and everything that me and my daughter, Latifa Muthoni, we were so much connected in a way that it's unexplainable. So that was our time together before I took her to the hospital in the morning. So we were playing, and then we slept. She was breastfeeding well. She was smiling. We had to sleep because in the morning we were going to visit the hospital for her day routine vaccination, and it is required because that is our duty, and we are told that it's our duty to do these things with the health government and with the WHO and the hospital. So we had to do what we were supposed to do. So in the morning, by around 10, we were ready. My daughter was up. She was smiling again, like always. She breastfed. I told my wife, we have to go to the hospital and Latifa vaccination, which was of her, and it was our responsibility. Then every time I go to the hospital, my wife or my kid I have to take them. I've never left my wife to visit an hospital alone without me being there as a concerned parent. There is no single day, because I love my family and I want the best, and I want to monitor every step. When we got into the hospital, how we give the book, how the doctors attend to my kid, my child, it's my responsibility as a father not to let my wife go alone. Then such things like this happen. Then she comes home with then something like this happen. Then you start to argue and say, "Oh, well, you know, well, how did it happen? How did it happen?" It's our responsibility as a father to be able to have an opportunity of visiting the hospital and making sure that he supervise or he observe whatever is happening to the baby. For me, that's my principle. And ever since God has blessed me with my firstborn, then my secondborn, there is no single day that my wife has left our house alone with a child. I have to accompany her and finish what it's required in the hospital so that I can come and go about on with my business. So I told my wife, we go around 10. We visited the hospital as usual. I was the one carrying the bag for my child, the bag and the book and anything like Pampers and some towels. So it's put in one place, like in a bag. So I'm the one just escorting my wife, just carrying the bag. My wife was carrying my baby, and we were just happy, moving. So we reached the hospital, and then I presented the book. I paid the amount of money that I was required to pay for my daughter to be vaccinated. I paid 100 shillings, Kenyan 100 shillings, for the book and for the vaccine. We were told to go upstairs. We went. There was a line. So many kids were there, and every kid wanted to visit the vaccination room. After they finished with them, we were asked to come in. My wife was told to undress the child. The child was okay. She was like, it was like the clothes were taking off. She was crying. She was like fearing how, why you removing my clothes? So she removed the clothes, and then they put her. I was observing each and every step because I believe that it's a moment that any parent cannot afford to lose. Just to being able to be present when your daughter is going into something like a vaccination or medication. It's a support. So my daughter was happy. She was a bit crying about how the dress was moving from her, and it's normal. So they put her to the weight. They put the weight on her, and she was improving. She was really growing well. The nurses came and they removed the vaccine. Then they did give her one for the mouth. I think it's polio, and then they give her the jabs for the thighs, the legs. So she started crying, but we understood it's normal, because when the kid will cry, then she will be able to be okay, or she'll just it's just a matter of time before it's going to be okay. So she started crying, but we took her, we dressed her. I helped my wife to put some new pampers to change her. New pampers I removed from my bag. I put, like, making sure that we dress her quickly, because she's a baby. She needs, after you dress her quickly so that she can be warm. So we finish our duty as a parent. We came back home. So when we came back home, she continued crying, which was not normal. Like before we took her there, she started to cry a lot. I I asked my wife, what's happening? Why is Latifa just has changed, and she was well. She was well. She just changed after we have done the vaccination. We gave her some paracetamol for the pain. It's required. We bought paracetamol for relieving pain, so that she can be able to withstand. So we had the paracetamol, which we used early, and it was just there. But she could not act normal the way we took her to the vaccine, and then we gave her paracetamol. Then she relaxed, and the pain could just disappear. She was crying a lot, like she was in too much pain, and we figured that we just thought that it's normal, like, but she was really crying a lot. And if I could touch her or try to hold her, try to hold her, me and my wife, we try to hold her, maybe like just try to make something like we just want her to be calm. If we accidentally touch the legs, or we hold the leg, she could react like the pain was in the tights where she was injected, where she was put some vaccine. So it was, if we could hold, like we could try to hold her leg, like try to make her calm, she could increase her cries. Then she stopped for a while, like she was just relaxing, like she was tired of crying. After some time, when maybe she's waking up, she could cry. She could start cry, just to cry, and this is not normal. This is not Latifa Muthoni we were holding like a day before the vaccine. This is not Latifa Muthoni. Something has changed. She has changed dramatically. I can't imagine how she was feeling, because it's really emotional. I can't imagine, because she was well. She was, in 12 hours ago, she was well, smiling. She was giving breast. My wife was giving her something, like she wanted her to breastfeed. Maybe she was feeling angry. She could refuse to eat and cry, and she could stop for a while. Then she could start when she was tired. Then when she could start again and cry and cry. It was late at night that I told my wife, no, this is serious, because even though it's people say it's normal, but this is something that it's not right. There is a problem, because my daughter was healthy every time. She was growing so well. I tried my best as a parent to provide for my family, and it is, I don't know what happened really, but after the vaccination, because my daughter didn't have any medical history. My daughter was not ever since she was born, she was not ever being treated with any kind of illness. She was never been to an hospital with my book, the book that I bought in that hospital. And I asked something else rather than the vaccine only. Her medical history is clean. She was healthy. She was growing. The weight she was having, she was growing as normal kid. I wonder what happened. And it's still a mystery up to now, because I had the book. If she was having any kind of medical issues, the book could be written that she has a medical history of, but she was growing well, she was feeding well, she was happy, she was enjoying, and she was loving us as a parent. She wanted to be with us. She wanted to have us being part of. She wanted to be part of our family, because that's why when I'm recording this, I know she's an angel. She's watching over us, and maybe my recording is going to help another family just to uncover and just to know what really happened, because I had to make sure and what happened, because late night she started not breathing normally. She changed her breathing. She changed because she was really in so much pain, and I think those hours that we were ignoring, those hours that we thought that it's normal for a kid to get a vaccine and maybe to cry and it's okay because she will get better, something was eating her up in her body. That moment she was being vaccinated or injected, that's the moment she changed herself. And all this time, when we were saying, okay, it's okay, yeah, she's not sick, she just was vaccinated, something was eating her up. Something was eating her up, and we lost her. She just stopped breathing. She changed her breathing. That's when I told my wife, let's rush her to the hospital, because this is not, it's not normal. We went late night. We went back to the same hospital where she was vaccinated in the morning. We went back at night, midnight. And when we entered the door to see the doctor checked her and she put some of the things to examine her, and she told us that she's normal. She has died. she told us, the doctor told us that our baby has died. She's gone. It was so emotional, and no any other family can pass through this, because she was well and she was okay, and she had health, she was feeding well, she was, after she cried for a long time, and then she died. We were told to take her back to the house by the hospital, because I told them that my daughter was vaccinated in this same hospital earlier in the morning, and she was well. She was well. She just had the only thing that she had in her system, rather any other thing that can interfere with her system, it's the vaccine. I shared with the doctor. I told her my daughter had no medical history. She was okay. She was well in the morning. Yesterday morning, we brought her here. She was vaccinated. We went, she started to, I think something was wrong. So when the doctor heard that I took my daughter there earlier for the vaccination, he said, just take your baby, go with. The hospital told me to take my dead baby and take her home, so that in the morning I could go report with her to the police. Then my daughter could go to the morgue, to the mortuary. There's no any other help they could offer me, like maybe to find a place to put my baby. We had to bear the emotion of carrying our baby back to our house, a dead baby. My wife was crying a lot. We were walking with a dead baby at night, and our baby was well. And after we took her to the same hospital which we paid with our money for the vaccination of our baby. We come back with a need to know what's happening, and they told us our baby has died. Then they told us to take our dead baby back to the house, so that in the morning we can go to the police and report. And it's a medical facility. It's a hospital facility, because they didn't want stories. They didn't want maybe people to know that the baby was earlier vaccinated there. So that's why they told us to take our baby. We went with our baby to the house. We went with her up to 6. My wife was crying. You know, we were really in so much emotional. It was so emotional, because our baby was well, and now she's dead. And the only argument we can argue, and it's, she only had in her system the vaccination, nothing else, no illness, no nothing. I had to take my baby to the police and report that there's a death. The death happened. We were written a letter. We took my baby to the mortuary, to the morgue. But in my heart, I was not at peace. I wasn't at peace, because many people were saying, okay, just, it's a baby, just, it's okay, it's just a 2 months old baby, it's just a 2 months old baby, just. But in my heart, I wanted to know what was wrong, what went wrong. That's why I asked and raised some money to do a postmortem for her, to know if her system, and if maybe there's something which was wrong with her in the system. That's why but many people didn't want me to do that. They just wanted me to go bury my daughter and just leave everything, just to forget. And as a father, and I know every step I've walked, every step of the way with my child, my baby, and assist. If there was something, if her body, if there was maybe any kind of problem, I had to raise some money by selling some of my things, because here in Kenya, it's very hard to move and get help without you having money in your hand. That's why we did a postmortem. And the result, they say that my baby died of SIDS. But I was not satisfied, because the way these people handled us and the way they were handling, because they didn't want to be involved, like they didn't want, there was something which they knew happened, because the hospital called us. They wanted us to talk. I don't know what they wanted to talk us about, but they say, oh, come, you talk. If you want, you can even stop going to do the postmortem. If you can come, we talk, we know how we can. But what if another child die of such incident? And there are so many, because most of the parents ignore and don't want to know the truth and don't want to follow it up. I was told that, oh, we talk, like if this is a hospital, this is a big hospital from the community. If I start to maybe follow these things up, they could spoil the name of the hospital, and it's a Catholic run hospital. It's so I think it's just have to leave it. And I didn't want that. I just told them, no, I just had to know and take my daughter for a postmortem and do. So they were communicating. I knew there was some hand over money with the people who are involved with my child. But what I am relieved is to know that on my part, as a parent, I played a very important role in trying to be able to be there for my child, my baby, Latifa Muthoni. I'm so relieved, because even though there are people who they don't want me to talk more on this issue, but no amount of money, no amount of compensation can keep me from telling my story or expressing or try to find out what happened, because it's, you can't tell me it's normal. It's not normal. So it's not normal for a kid to be growing well, feeding well, and after they have vaccinated the baby in so much pain in the system, in her system, and she dies around period of time which is unexplained. They say it's unexplained, and there's an explanation. There's maybe, if we could follow this up, maybe that there's something which the system which she was injected, the system was resisting, which her system that is my story. And in the morning when I took my daughter to the morgue, it was like her body was the side effects. It's like the side effects. She changed her, she was turning white, you know, like the side effect of the, she was like, she was turning like whitish. It's which is not normal. If somebody dies in about 5 hours, then you take her to the hospital. My baby changed, like it is some side effects. The body was turning like it's whitish. It was like a side effect of something, like something which she was having, and then the side effects of it. Yes, thank you.
Hi, I'm Felisias Nyambura, and I live in Kenya, Nairobi. I'm the mother to the late Latifa Muthoni. So it was on Thursday, the 18th of June. We woke up early, 8 a.m. I breastfed her, and we got ready to go to the clinic. As a routine, we went to the clinic. They measured her height, her weight, and she was fine. Everything was good. After that, they took the injection, and I took the baby back home. She started crying, but I thought it was normal because of the injection. I gave her some Piriton, but the Piriton was not working like before. The last time I gave her the Piriton and she stopped crying, but this time she did not stop crying. I tried to breastfeed her, but she refused. She cried till night. So at night, at around 12, that's when she changed her breathing. And when I looked at her legs where she was injected, she had some sweat on the place where she was injected. And she had changed her breathing. So we saw it was wise to take her back to the clinic. And going to the clinic, all through the way, the baby was still breathing and she was fine. But when we got to the hospital, at the gate, when we entered the door, the doctor told us that she was gone. I told the doctor to check her again. The doctor repeated, checked her eyes, and the doctor said that the baby was gone. We asked the doctor what we could do now, but he told us we should take the baby back home and wait till morning so that we can take her to the mortuary. I took the baby and we went back home and waited till 6 in the morning. That's when we started looking for means of transport to take the baby to the mortuary. And going to the mortuary, I told the doctor, we met a doctor, and I told her to check the baby if it's true that she's gone. They repeated, check the baby, and they said that she was gone. But I know my baby was not sick. She was never ill in any way. She was fine. After she was checked at the mortuary, they said that she was gone. And they had to admit her to the mortuary. From there, that is when we started looking for how we could get the truth of the baby's death.
I think let me just finish because she's in so much. So she think she's in so much pain now. Like she can't talk more. So as I was saying, what we just wanted to let, at least to make an awareness, and because what happened to us it's so painful that another family can experience such pain and there could be no one to maybe talk to, or maybe no one who can ask some questions. Because I've tried my best to make sure that if I can get my story, maybe someone to listen, maybe we could find a way to help, even though it's very tough. The situation, it's very tough because many people don't want to accept and to believe that vaccine can harm babies. And it has happened to us. There's so many, I've heard stories, I've had stories from around of babies after they have visited, they went home, they stayed maybe for like a day, then they died. But it happened to us. And the way I love my family and I know how I did try or able to support them in any way, this is not what I should expect to happen. This is not just something to happen just like that and then we ignore, or it's because it's like it's something that you see in the movie. It's not right that many people are closing their eyes and they want to ask questions or maybe try to talk about it because they think that it's impossible or there's no help coming out of it. As I picture, like time like this, the last time I was with her, it was a time like this at night because she was just playing around and I was carrying her. She was she was good. She was happy. She was, if we could play with her at a time like this till she go to sleep. Then in the morning after we take her to the hospital, that's when we come and lose her in circumstances that they say it just happens. It just happens. It's not supposed to happen. I think there's supposed to be answers, or maybe even if it's tough because many people are going through this, and it's really something that I think people need to look up to and to dig, or maybe just to make sure that if we can help and maybe make some awareness that there might be something wrong with the vaccine. I think the people can look up to it and maybe there can be some answers coming out, and maybe some people can be accountable on this issue, because as for me, I blame the hospital from my conscience, because I can't say I blame the hospital, because if my kid died, well, I didn't take her to the hospital for the vaccine. If she could just die just at home without me visiting, then that could be, we could say it's normal. But they tell me not to blame anyone or ask fingers. But it's something which is, it's hard to understand, because there's something, someone has to be accountable. Someone has to be asked questions, because you can't just say it's SID and the kid had vaccine. A kid visited the health facility for the routine vaccination. Then the kid dies, the baby dies. Then you just say, they just say it's SIDS and it's done. That one you cannot ask any question. You cannot, they say it's normal. But what I believe is, with my case, there's somewhere where they need to be asked, because my kid died while undergoing vaccination. The vaccine was flow into her system and nerves. Because in the morning when she was being transferred, it's like the side effects. Something was wrong because she was turning white. Like the system was trying to release something which was not okay in the system, and it was, she was not like that normal self. The reaction was, she was like whitish. She was like the system was that I don't know if it's side effect or reaction, but it's like it was the poison. There was a poison inside her. There was a poison inside my daughter, and that thing when you tell me just to accept, and I know it's very hard for us as a family. That's why we are so humble to get to share our story, and who knows, maybe it will help someone somewhere out there. Yes, thank you.